Yo, what is up guys? It's me, Zach Lee. I'm trying to find the words to describe how I felt when I found out Paul George was traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder. There's just so much going through my mind. I just want to say this to any Celtics fans that might be watching this video right now. For the past couple of years, anytime a big name player was available for trade or a big name free agent hit the market, where were they supposed to end up? The Boston Celtics. How many of them ended up on the Boston Celtics? Not a single one, unless you count Al Horford. It started with Jimmy Butler. There were red flags all around Jimmy Butler. When Minnesota got him for the package they got him for, that should have been a huge red flag that Boston was not about to get anybody. We know they easily could have matched that package. There's still Paul George out there. They can still go out and get Paul George. That's what the Celtic fans are placing their faith in. But then you see reports claiming that Danny Ainge is saying that the Pacers want too much for Paul George. Too much. Asking for too much, they said. On what planet is a package of Victor Oladipo plus Domantas Sabonis considered to be too much for Paul George, even if it could just be a one-year rental? On what planet is that considered too much? They let Jimmy Butler and Paul George get away for packages that they easily could have matched. You could have offered just the Nets pick. Just a single Nets pick would have been a better exchange than what the Pacers got in freaking Victor Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis for Paul George. What on earth were you actually trying to get Paul George for? It doesn't make sense whatsoever. And now Celtics fans' last hope is Gordon Hayward. But I'm just saying, with how cheap Danny Ainge looks right now, I wouldn't be surprised at all if during their meeting he offers Hayward a stick of gum and a shoelace to come play for the Celtics for 5 years. And on top of that, the Jazz now feel more confident than ever that they will be able to keep Gordon Hayward. Even the guy they didn't want in Blake Griffin is off the table now. He just re-signed with the Clippers. I just don't see how it's possible for them to literally miss out on every single player that they go after. But Boston strikeouts aren't the topic of this video. It's not what this video is supposed to be about. This video is about the newest hype train in the NBA. Goodbye Houston. It's been a great 72 hours, but hello Oklahoma City Thunder. We the fans aren't the only ones that are excited about them getting Paul George. Russell Westbrook was extremely hyped last night for some reason, which I think we all know what the reason was.
Know some young niggas like to swag. Know some young like to swag. Let's take a little back, yep.
I have never seen a man so happy that he doesn't have to do every single thing for the team anymore. He doesn't have to put the entire team on his back. He has someone to help carry the load. How LeBron James felt during the finals against the Warriors is how Russell Westbrook felt every single game last year. That man couldn't come out the game without seeing the lead he built, or if he kept him in the game, just being dissolved and the team falling down 15 points because they had no one to turn to when Russell Westbrook wasn't in the game. Now, at least Paul George or Russell Westbrook should be in every minute of every single game, and it will kind of be like back when they had Kevin Durant. And really, this was an amazing trade for the Thunder. This was spectacular. They realized they have the MVP in Russell Westbrook, but they're not willing just to stop there. Once you have the MVP, you kind of owe it to him to build a team that he can compete with. It would be just as easy for them, and they could save money if they just kept it as is, because they would be able to sell tickets still because they had Russell Westbrook, still make the playoffs, still be a semi-competitive team. They're going out there and risking it to win. Paul George, of course, is on a one-year deal, so trading for him carries a little bit of risk, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and the Thunder just attempted a game winner. All that being said, I'm not trying to de-hype the hype or anything, because the Thunder are about to be a much better team next year. However, they are still a few pieces away from being legit title contenders. Sure, with just Russell Westbrook, they were able to go out there and play with almost any other team in the NBA. So you add Paul George, and now teams are legit scared of the Thunder. And the OKC Golden State Warriors matchups won't be nearly as one-sided as they were last year. And outside of getting Paul George, one of the best things that happened to the Thunder in this trade was getting rid of Victor Oladipo's contract. Don't get me wrong, Oladipo is a a nice player. You know, he's a solid NBA player. But the Thunder had to massively overpay him last year to keep him there. The man was making $22 million a year. He is not worth $22 million a year, and the Thunder's cap situation is pretty much screwed because of all the people that they have to overpay to get them to play there. So moving him was great. Now all the Thunder really needs to do, in my eyes, they need to go after a bunch of shooters. They don't even need a third star. They don't need that third guy, because Russell Westbrook is the type of guy where, you know, he's a one-man wrecking crew by himself. All they need around him is shooters. Now that he has Paul George, that's even better, because that's another guy he can turn to on his off nights. So they just need to shed a little bit more salary and go after the best shooters they can possibly get in free agency. On a side note though, have any of you guys realized yet that the Thunder basically traded Serge Ibaka for Paul George? Because last year they traded Ibaka for Oladipo and Sabonis, and now they traded Oladipo and Sabonis for Paul George. That's what you call plussing up. My whole video from yesterday was completely irrelevant, completely useless now. None of that stuff even matters anymore. That's crazy. Yesterday we talked about the Minnesota Timberwolves and Jimmy Butler recruiting Kyle Lowry, but now they got a point guard already, and it's not Kyle Lowry. Jeff Teague, within hours of free agency tipping off, the Minnesota Timberwolves and Jeff Teague agreed to a 3-year, $57 million contract. Now this contract is a steal, because I can guarantee you there are some teams out there that will be willing to give Jeff Teague a max contract. So the fact that the Wolves only got him for about $19 million a year is a win, because now they can afford to go add another player as well. And with rumors that Paul Millsap is heavily deciding between Denver and the Timberwolves, if the freaking Wolves get Paul Millsap too, are you serious? They will basically have 5 all-stars in their starting lineup. Jeff Teague was once an all-star. Jimmy Butler is an all-star. Andrew Wiggins will be an all-star one day. Paul Millsap was an all-star, and Karl Anthony Towns will for sure be an all-star one day. The only thing that I'm worried about the Wolves though is their bench. That bench is extremely suspect. Normally I say it's a good thing when a team manages to keep their star player in free agency. Normally, in this case, I'm gonna have to give the Clippers an L for re-signing Blake Griffin. See, Blake Griffin had tons of meetings. I think he had like 5 teams interested in signing him. But before he even met with a single one of those teams, before it was even July 1st, he decided to sign a 5-year, $5 or $3 million contract with the Los Angeles Clippers. Now for Blake Griffin, obviously what he cared about was the money. The Clippers could give him more money than any other team in the NBA. So I can't be mad at him if that's what he wants out of his career, because I'd be surprised if he expects to win anything at all with the Clippers. But the Clippers, what on earth are you doing? The Clippers will compete. They will definitely be competing for one of the last playoff spots in the Western Conference. Here's the thing, you're not gonna get any good draft picks. You're not gonna get any good free agents to sign with you, so what are you gonna be doing for the next 5 years? I seriously thought the second they traded Chris Paul, they were gonna go into rebuilding mode. Let Blake Griffin go, trade away DeAndre Jordan, and just start the process. But now it seems like all they care about is selling tickets, because that's all Blake Griffin is gonna do for you. So Stephen Curry just agreed to what is now the biggest contract ever given out in NBA history. Over the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, he made a total of $40 million. For each of the next 5 years, he will be making $40 million. Steph Curry just signed a 5-year, $201 million super max contract with the Golden State Warriors. Of course, this is a well-deserved contract, and he was shorted in his last contract because the Warriors had suspicions about his ankle when he was younger. You know, he couldn't stay healthy. But now, of course, that turned out to be one of the biggest contract steals in NBA history, and he got rewarded with one of the biggest contracts in NBA history, so it definitely made up for it. But that's not even really news. Everyone already knew he was gonna get that deal from the Warriors. The more surprising thing the Warriors did though was bring back Shaun Livingston for basically nothing at all. 3 years, $24 million for Shaun Livingston? That is a steal. Maybe 3 or 4 years ago, that would have been considered about the right price for what Sean Livingston is to the Warriors. But in today's NBA, that is pretty much a rookie scale contract. He probably could have made almost double that with another team, but I guess winning is more important to him, and that's not a bad thing. Now I'll just go over everything else that went down yesterday because there were quite a few signings and little trades here and there, as well as some things to look out for. First off, let's start with what officially happened. The Minnesota Timberwolves traded Ricky Rubio to the Jazz yesterday for the Jazz 2018 first-round draft pick. Drew Holiday and the Pelicans have agreed on a 5-year, $126 million contract. Real quick, congrats to Drew Holiday. This man has been through a lot over the past few years and he deserves this. Patty Mills is staying with the Spurs on a 4-year, $50 million contract. Nene Hilario is staying with the Rockets for a yellow starburst. Tony Snell got $46 million from the Bucks for 4 years. And Cristiano Felicio re-signed with the Bulls for $32 million. That's all for the official stuff. Now let's take a look at the stuff to watch out for going forward in free agency. The first thing is that the Wizards offered John Wall a 4-year supermax contract extension worth $170 million, but he says he's going to take time to think about it before he signs it. JJ Redick wants to play with the Rockets if they have enough money to sign him, and the Lakers are interested in Rajon Rondo for some reason. Now with all that out the way though, let's get into the question of the day. What do you think that the Thunder need to do now? Who should they go after? What do you think they need to do in order to take that next step to become legit title contenders? Let me know what you think down in the comment section below, but now let's take a look at what you said in yesterday's video. And yesterday, after Karl Anthony Towns said that the Minnesota Timberwolves would be a dynasty in the NBA, I asked you guys if you thought that was true, and here's what you said. I think the Timberwolves are going to become a dynasty. In the next few years, they're going to be a solid team in the West, but when Wiggins and Towns reach their peaks, they will win a few championships. The Timberwolves have a great core, but they need bench depth and veterans. Timberwolves kinda made a mistake getting Jimmy Butler, unless they plan on and can get Kyle Lowry. This team is good, but if they're looking for their future, by the time Cat is in his prime, 25 or so, Butler will be 32 or 33. Not saying Butler won't produce, but they need to win soon or else Butler is going to be out of his prime too fast. I feel like they rushed their process. I get what you're saying about, like, you know, Towns and Wiggins won't be in their prime at the same time as Butler, but the thing about Wiggins and Towns, especially Towns is the type of player where he's already playing years above his age, if that makes sense. You know, Towns is already producing at a level that guys can only dream of producing when they are in their prime. He's kind of like Anthony Davis. You know, right now, Anthony Davis isn't even in his prime, but he's still the type of player that could probably be the #1 option on a championship team with the right pieces around him. Towns maybe isn't on the same level as AD yet, but he's cut from the same cloth. He will be at that level sooner rather than later, so I don't think the timeline is too big of a difference. Like I said though, don't forget to leave your answer for today's question of the day down in the comment section below. But other than that, thank you once again for watching the video. Hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more daily NBA videos. Until tomorrow, keep getting the Bucks Team SDC, and I'm out of here.